Welcome today, guys, to my presentation of my own hometown, Vietnam. And before this presentation keep going on, I'm very sorry if you guys feel uncomfortable with my English voice because I know it's not the best out there, but let's face it, not everyone is American, so yeah. So what you're looking right there is my city where I was born in, Saigon. Yeah. But first, let's talk about where's the capital. Capital. I just butcher the whole word there, but yeah, let's find out where's our capital is. Oh yeah, we're here at our capital, Hanoi. I went there for once, and I'll be honest, it was amazing to look at the scenery around. And let's look at some of the scenery where makes Hanoi very famous. Here we have the Sword Lake on the top left corner, the one pillar pagoda on the top right corner, God, and the retro part of the city. And we'll talk about it in the next slide. So here we have the Sword Lake, also known as, I'll just gonna put up Google Translate because they would do it better than I can. So yeah, just let me have a moment. And here it is. Let's see what Google Translate's gonna say. I'm just gonna turn up the volume once again. And there you have it. So why is it called the Sword Lake? Well, legend was told back in the 15th century, or is it 15, 16? Yeah, around there. So the the emperor of Vietnam back in the day was sort of borrowed a sword from the king of the sea. So this is the place where he returned the sword back to the sea kings through a giant turtle, which the little temple that you're looking at is the place where people worship a big turtle. And yeah, there was a few things, or rather news, happening a few years ago. People see a big turtle that is around, say, 100, 150, 200 years old get up from the underwater because some think the water is too toxic, or is it getting dirty for the turtle to live. So let's move on to the next spot of the city. So here we have the one pillar pagoda, and you might see only a part of it because the app I'm using is not showing the whole thing, but the important is that pagoda itself. So here we have, you see that little cabin standing on one pillar? Yeah, you got it. That's why they call it one pillar pagoda, because that cabin is essentially the pagoda standing on a pillar. Yeah, you got it. That's the pun. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna move on to the next spot, I guess. And we're moving on to the Hanoi Retro Street, or also known as a part of this Hanoi where it's kind of keeping all the old buildings from, say, 80s, 90s, and 1960s, 70s days, I guess. I went downtown there for once, and I gotta say it was amazing to see like every single different street is particularly good at something. Say there's the streets where extremely good at making wood stuff, ceramic stuff, wood toys, and some of them good at food making things. Oops. No, it's actually supposed to be food, like yeah. So they're actually like every single street is good at something. I gotta say, it kind of makes you feel like you're traveling back to time. So yeah, that's every single spot that make Hanoi famous for what it is. So let's move on to the next part of our country. And here we are to Halong Bay. Come on, this is the place in my country that make the Genius records crazy. I mean, come on, look at it. Blue water, green island, blue sky, and Jeremy Clarkson in a Lambretta. This is nothing new. I think that's every normal day in my country. So, this place is just spectacular, guys. I mean, look at the scene. I know people say Halong Bay is nice, and I know for the fact that I've never been there. But I just gotta say, it looks nice. Oh, and here's another part of Hanoi or near Hanoi City that I should have mentioned earlier, but since the place don't have any actual English name, I'm just gonna put it onto Google Translate and let's see what she said about this. So you guys might have an idea how to say it. So okay, we're gonna see how Google Translate read it. Okay, I did not see that coming, and please do not say something because Google Translate is sometimes being stupid, so I'm gonna say it myself. I think American would say like 10 top big dog, I guess. I mean, I know how to say it in my own language, but I think that's how Americans gonna say it, so I'm gonna say it like that. So yeah, I mean, if you look at the river where you see a lot of boats right there, we used to sail a boat, like we have a guy with us, and we sail the boat to the deep inside of the valley. And I accidentally dropped the things that you use to sail the boat. I accidentally forgot that word, so let's see. Oh yeah, it's called a paddle. I forgot. I dropped the paddle into the river. Luckily, my sister caught it, so we didn't actually lose it, but I was kind of afraid. So, and deep inside the valley, you'll see a market on boat, like the whole area about the size of our school. Everyone is sitting on a boat and they're selling stuff.
Actually, it's not like a boat. It's more like a kayak, I guess. And it's not like it's actually on the picture. You gotta go and sitting on a kayak and sail yourself with a guide, or a guide with you, both sail together into deep inside the valley behind the mountains you see there. And yeah, you will see the market. So let's move on to the next point, which, yeah, let's just move on, I guess. So here we have the Hue Palace. And as you can see, we have a bad resolution, so that's why I put y'all got any more than pixels down there. So yeah, so this place is, say you're an Asian and you live in the 19th century and you're part of the emperor. This is where you live. I would say it's 5 times bigger than our schools in area. The place was humongous. Alright, I went there once. I wasn't interested in it at all. I'm sorry, but that's just me. But now if I think about it again, I kinda like it. You see how like it looks like a retro villa. And this is a place where the last emperor in our country, like the 90% of our last emperor family lived there. And it was, thought about thinking, and now to think about it, I think it was once of our old capital. Huh. Funny enough, our country used to have 3 different capital. I'll talk about the third one later, but this one is one of the last capital we have. It's not actually a capital anymore, but was once of the last palace, I'd say, in our country. This place just full of retro stuff, man. And by 90%, I mean the place was say if the palace got 19 different generation, if I remember correctly, and about 16 out of 20 generation live in the. No, actually, they live in both. They use both of them as a. Now what's wrong, guys? They live half of it here in the same place, and the other 50% they live in the third place. And this place was being used during the 17th to 18th century, and the last emperor I would call it a emperor family, I guess. The last emperor family lived here for 50 years and they moved. And sometimes their musical drama here. If you are a tourist, they would allow you to go inside, but don't touch anything. You will sit in the yard and watch it. If that's what I heard from the touring guide,